Hello, I'm Drake. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we share real, occult, and magical knowledge so you can manifest real and tangible results in your life, no matter what path you follow. This week, we'll be talking about how to start working with the Triple Goddess, so stay tuned. Okay, so your first question may be, who is the Triple Goddess? Or what is the Triple Goddess? Very simply put, the Triple Goddess is a concept that we find in many magical practices and traditions where the goddess as a whole is broke down into either three different goddesses that are each serving different functions or three aspects of the same goddess. The three aspects of the Triple Goddess that you most commonly encounter. Some of the three aspects that you'll most commonly encounter are girl, woman, widow. This is actually one that I've not seen a lot, but there's a lot of people who do seem to use that one. Another association of the Triple Goddess is birth, love, and death. I've also seen this one listed as birth, life, and death for obvious reasons. However, the most common trinity that I've encountered over all my years of study has got to be the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone. So let's go ahead and take a moment and talk about each of these individual aspects of the Triple Goddess. First, let's start with the Maiden. The Maiden is heavily associated with both the crescent and the waning moon. So this is the crescent moon as it's going and growing into the full moon. The Maiden is also a representation of youth. Times of day that she's associated with would be sunrise and the dawn. So we're talking about new beginnings, new starts, the beginning of a cycle. She's also very associated with the season of spring. Again, you're seeing that rebirth, that new beginning, because spring's when everything is coming to life. It's waking up after winter. It is the rebirth of nature. Now, as we said, she does represent new beginnings, but she also represents discovery. She represents independence. And she represents creativity, because this is definitely the time when creativity, when things are being created, is coming about. Now, some specific goddesses are often associated with the Maiden aspect of the Triple Goddess. Two of the ones that I hear the most about are the goddess Freya and the goddess Persephone. I highly encourage you to do your research and find out, because you may want to use specific goddesses for these associations. As we go through here, I'll list some examples, or you may just want to work with them as an aspect. The choice will be totally up to you. Okay, moving on. Some basic aspects of the Mother. The Mother represents maturity, and she's very represented by the full moon. And this can work both ways depending on your tradition. Some traditions see the full moon as only being a single night, and that's fine if that's how you want to do it. I myself use the 3-night cycle of the full moon. So basically it's the 3 nights surrounding, if you look on your calendar, it says the full moon is this night. On either side of it would also be a full moon. So I'd be able to work with the Mother Goddess on all 3 of those nights easily. She's also represented with midday. So you're able to work with her every day of the week at midday if you'd like to. This I actually find to be a wonderful option because I don't actually like to wait around for specific moon phases to do my workings. The Mother aspect is also related with summer because this is when life is in full bloom, the year's in full swing, everything is fully energized and ready to go. So during the summer is also a wonderful time of the year to work with the Mother aspect of the Triple Goddess. The Mother aspect of the Triple Goddess also deals heavily with manifestation, responsibility, adulthood. So if you are trying to manifest a lot of things in your life, or you're trying to work on how responsible you are with different aspects of things you have going on, the Mother Goddess aspect of the Triple Goddess is a wonderful place to start. 2 goddesses that people often associate as Mother Goddess are Demeter and Selene. However, there are many more, and I encourage you to do research and find them. Or again, you can just work with the aspect as just that, and a single aspect of the Triple Goddess as a whole. More often than not, that's what I prefer to do when working with the Triple Goddess. And of course, the third aspect is the Crone. Now, this aspect is associated with the waning moon, so it's after the full moon as it's starting to go darker and darker. And she's also associated with the dark of the moon or the new moon, where there's no light at all seen. And these are all times that are wonderful to work with the crone. The crone is associated with sunset and nighttime. So times of the day that would be good to work with the crone is at sunset or after during the night. Fall and winter are the seasons of the year that are associated with the crone. And this makes sense because when you're looking at that cycle of life that we've been talking about with all three of these aspects, fall and winter is when things they're losing their youthfulness. They're starting to taper down and get a little darker, get a little cooler. And honestly, the crone is associated with death, and fall's kind of viewed as that aging period, and winter is actually often viewed as the death of nature before it comes around to spring for rebirth. So these are reasons why the crone is heavily associated with those two seasons. Now, as we did say, the crone is actually associated with death. She is associated with aging and growing old. But she is also associated with rebirth because it is through this process that rebirth begins. Without this process, there can't be a rebirth. So the crone does tie heavily into rebirth. Now, a lot of people like to work with the crone when they're seeking out past life information, or perhaps they're seeking a major transformation in their life. In that case, they'll seek out the crone because she's very powerful in both of these aspects. Perhaps my favorite reason to work with the crone would be with visions, prophecies, and divinations. When it comes to giving out information and wisdom, the crone is really my go-to. I don't think you can really go wrong when you're seeking out information going to the crone, because she does have that natural wisdom of a village elder or a clan elder. She's seen it, she's done it, she's been there. She has the experience. So these are definitely the reasons that I prefer to work with her. And when I work with the triple goddess, honestly, the crone tends to be the one I work with the most, because those are a lot of where my research and practice tends to lean to. And the two goddesses that are most heavily associated with the crone, in my experience, is Hecate and the Morgan. Okay, now that we've covered the basic aspects, Maiden, Mother, and Crone, and some of their associations, I'd like to cover how you can jump right on in and start working with the triple goddess. And we're going to do this by breaking it down like day, month, year. There's three processes that I was taught as I was going through a lot of my experiences and learning. And I find each of them have their pros and cons, and I really like to use them for different reasons. So we'll go ahead and cover them here. And it falls back on the associations that we've covered before. First off, daily workings. With the daily workings, you follow the time of day that's associated with each of the three aspects. So at sunrise, you'd be working with the Maiden. Around noon, you'd be working with the Mother. At sunset and night, you'd be working with the Crone. And you can do this on a daily basis, or you can even split them up. Some people will actually work with all three on a single day, or you can just focus on working with one. Say you're just wanting to work with the Maiden, you would set it so that you can do a sunrise type ritual every day of the week. Okay, the next method of working with them, and a lot of people actually like this, and I think this might actually be the most common one, is monthly. And in this case, you're actually going to begin working with each aspect based on the moon phase. So when the moon is crescent and waxing, that's when you're going to be working with the Maiden. And then as the moon shifts over to the full moon phase, that's when you're going to begin working and doing all the magics and the rituals to the Mother. As it passes that full moon phase and shifts into the waning and the dark moon, you're going to begin working with the Crone. This seems to be the most popular. This one, I don't really care much for this one, and it's because I don't know. I feel the Maiden and the Crone's getting all the kudos because they have two major sections of the month, and the Mother's only getting like 3 days. And that doesn't really resonate with me, so I don't really use this one that often. But I do know that a lot of pagan and witchcraft rituals are built around this, and that's fine. It's just, if it resonates with you, go for it. Like I said, the only reason I don't like this one is it doesn't resonate with me because of that, what feels unbalanced to me. But but otherwise it's a wonderful method. In fact, I do like a lot of ritual methods that do work with the monthly cycle like that. And finally, you have the yearly version of the rituals. And in this, you work with the seasons of the year and you follow that yearly cycle. Now for me, hands down, when working with the triple goddess and path working with her, this is where I would go. Right here, I'd do the yearly. So that way, in spring, I follow spring and I focus on the maiden. I keep my focus on the maiden and I take the time to work with her, learn from her, walk with her. All my rituals were geared toward that. And then as we moved into summer, that's when I started working with the mother. And I'd start walking with her, spending all my time in rituals with her, doing evocations and invocations. My meditations were focused on her. And then as we shifted into autumn and winter, then I would dive heavy and focus on the crone. And setting it up this way, I did a year-long path working with the triple goddess where I was able to take months on end and focus on each aspect and learn directly from them and get a massive amount of personal gnosis. And hands down, if you ask me, this is the best way to do this. And it's the most flexible because you can set your rituals up any time of day. And I know for those of us who work, that's a tricky one. You got to make sure you have the time to do the rituals. But I do understand a full year path working is a major undertaking for a lot of practitioners. And if you're just wanting to try and get to know the triple goddess, this might not be where you want to go just yet. So for that, I would actually recommend the weekly or the monthly versions of it. In fact, if you're just trying to get to know these three aspects, I would go with the daily so that you just set your ritual up for that time of day. Because we all have at least one day off where we can get up around sunrise or sunset and we can set aside that time to work with that aspect. Starting out, that's probably the best place to go. And then if you want to pursue a deeper understanding of the triple goddess, definitely do the year-long path working version. Anyways, this is just a quick introduction on working with the triple goddess and methods that you can use to start working with her and who she is. And make sure you're subscribed and you've hit the bell icon for notifications. Our next video will be starting our Urban Magic and Kitchen Witch series, so be looking for that this Friday. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon so you will be notified anytime we release a new video. Don't forget to check out some of our other videos on how to manifest real and tangible results in your life. And I'll see you next time. Take care.